Good afternoon and good evening, everybody. Welcome to Talk Wrestling here on the Jeff Meacham Network. And, of course, Aaron Riff, No DQ, the NoDQ.com YouTube, and for the Great Trade Brand YouTube. Hello, everybody, as well as my Facebook and my Twitter again. Yay. Hi, everybody. Hope you had a great Halloween. Mine was interesting. As some of you may or may not be aware, I decided to stream the entire Michael Myers movie series on another Twitter account I run, my Michael cosplay Twitter. I rather enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun, and I will probably do it again next year, depending on where I'm at, what I'm doing, all that happy stuff. So if you want to check it out, just look up M.A. Myers 101957. That's me. So check that out. See what people are saying in the chat room so far. We've got the Renegades here. But by the way, I'm glad you're here, Jay, because I wanted to promote that the dads on wrestling finally have their own shirts. Whoopie-doo. Yay, yay, yay. Mikey's worn it on the Stat Boy Sports Bar a couple times, but I had not had a chance to wear it because I didn't have it. But now I have it. And since this week's dads was recorded prior to JJ or I receiving our shirts, won't be on that show. So I wanted to wear it right here in public, if you will, and get it out there that we do have our shirt. It is available right now along with all of our stuff. All of our t-shirts for the network are over at teespring.com/stores/FNewYork. There you see the first part of the page you're going to see when you go there, the network shirt that I've worn recently, the Talk Wrestling shirt I wore last week, and of course the Meacham Mini shirts. That's all you see when you first get there. But right underneath it are the dad shirt, the Renegade shirt, the Stat Boy Approved shirt, the Stat Boy Sports Bar. All that stuff is there. And buy the shirt, please, by all means. Big G says, what's up? Hello, Big G. Good to see you, sir. Dwayne says, good afternoon, my friend, and a glorious day. It is a glorious day. It's been a good day, I gotta say. Let's see. Colin says, hey. Colin, I did get your message with the information. I will take care of that as soon as I'm off the air today. I'm sorry I didn't have a chance to record it in time for today's show. Been just bananas around here lately, so I do apologize for it not being ready for air now. Big G says Steelers are 7-0, baby. I'm so happy. Yeah, Steelers are rolling right along, aren't they, in the NFL? We'll definitely get into that tomorrow on the Stat Boy Sports Bar, again at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific, right here on the Jeff Meacham Network, so stay tuned for that. Psycho Jet Black says, what will I do on election day and election night? I'll be probably sitting either in this chair or in that chair, praying and hoping and having a alcoholic beverage ready one way or the other. It's going to be a long day for sure. Hello, Bader. Good to see you, sir. Let's see. Mark Simpson says, how long do you think Randy will hold on to the title before or after WrestleMania? Probably before. I mean, I can't see. Drew did such a good job, I feel, trying to carry the ball in a time where everything's nuts, right? Everything's crazy right now. So I don't know if taking it off of Drew is a permanent solution to what is ultimately a temporary problem, or if they're going to go with Drew long term again. And having the babyface chase is always the way to go. But Drew's not really a stereotypical, your typical babyface, right? So I don't know. But I would love to see him get the title back. I think he definitely did a great job with it. He definitely did a good job carrying the title, and I think that he has more potential in him to be a great champion overall. Okay, I had a question. Sorry, Chris, I didn't have a chance to load it into the stream here, but Chris Yuck says, how would you book Charlotte Flair's return? Very good question, considering that's my girl, although I'm very, very fond of Sasha right now because she's been the most consistent performer on the roster. I would honestly have Charlotte be involved in some way in the women's tag team championship picture. And I know that's a ways far off if I wanted to pair her with Becky, because Becky is still yet to deliver. The baby. So I don't know if you put Charlotte with somebody else, because that's the only thing Charlotte hasn't done is be the women's tag team champion. So I don't think that. I think that's the thing for her to do. But for short term, when she first comes back, just come back and, remind people who she is. Remind people that she's the queen. She is the dominant female in wrestling and WWE especially. So all she can do is come back and start whooping that ass. I hope that's what she does. But she definitely needs to come back with that swagger that only Charlotte Flair can carry. So we'll see how it goes. JJ seems to think that Randy Orton. Whoops, where the hell did I go? Sorry about that. JJ says Randy will be champion until November 20th. Right, the Survivor Series when Miz cashes in. Exactly. Yes. Bravo, sir. Bader says, do you think Randy will reach 16 world championships and equal Flair's record? Well, I've said this time and time again, Flair is more than a 16-time champion. That's what WWE wants you to think, and that's what WWE tells you in their record books, but I provided proof on my Facebook. If you're watching this on my Facebook right now, I provided proof a few months back that it is not 16. Having said that, I don't think they're going to have anybody eclipse the 16, except if for whatever reason they bring him back for one more round, John Cena. I don't think Hunter's going to pass it. I don't think they're going to have Randy pass it. I don't think they're going to have anybody pass Flair's 16, except maybe his daughter, because Charlotte is that good where she could be a 16-time champion. I know it's the reigns are inflated more nowadays, and they happen more often. But I could easily see Charlotte being a more than 16-time champion. Dwayne says, any possible names for Roman's faction, and do you think there will be more members besides the Usos? Yes, I do. I think we're going to see a lot of the family come in. There's family in the system like there's family out here at Knox Pro that the school that Rikishi runs. We'll probably see Rikishi be involved. We're going to see a lot more to this Samoan dynasty before it's all said and done. As far as the name, I mean, Samoan dynasty works for me. I like it personally, so that's what I would go with. Psycho J Black says, I'm sad that Kylie Ray is leaving wrestling, but she should take care of her mental health. Yes, I agree. It is sad that she is leaving, but mental health is everything, and I've learned that, especially in the last year. So I applaud her for having the courage and the realization that mental health needs to come above everything else. So good on Kylie. May she have a successful road to recovery on her mental health and a happy retirement. Big G says, Bray and Alexa kind of remind me of Joker and Harley. Would you agree? Maybe. Again, people tend to romanticize Joker and Harley. It's very much an abusive relationship. It's very, very dark. If you get into the comics and you get into some of the animated stories, it's a dark relationship. So I wouldn't classify Bray and Alexa as that dark or horrible yet, but they've definitely got the creep factor, and I love it. Like I said, Alexa's breath of fresh air in the Firefly Funhouse and the Bray Wyatt Fiend storyline. So I'm glad she's there. And now Jay says, scratch that, he'll hold it till Survivor Series. Now you confused me, Jay, but go ahead. Jake says, can't wait for Shot's return. Exactly. Yep. Ram Jam says, what are your thoughts on Roman Reigns possibly faction with the Usos, and do you think they should add Tamina? Well, I just mentioned the faction a second ago, Ram Jam, but I'll go ahead and touch on it again. Adding Tamina is, in theory, a good idea because she's part of that extended family, because the Snukas and the Anawahis kind of or blood brothers or blood family, if you will. But I mean, to bulk the stable, if nothing else, I'm not a fan of Tamina. I said this the other day on one of my shows. Not a fan of Tamina's at all. Never have been a fond of her work or her stuff on TV. So I wouldn't add her my own self, but for the purposes of padding the stable, yes. I think it's 21 was the final count that I got. I'm like, I'll have to go back and watch that video again. I'm pretty sure it was 21. JJ says Joker and Harley are they're as toxic as toxic can be. JJ would know. He is my DC guy, so he would know. Colin says, thoughts on Taker's anniversary belt? I haven't seen it yet. I saw the one they did, the the fancy one they did last year, whatever it was. I almost bought for my dad. I'm not seeing the new belt yet, Colin, so I'll have to take a look at it. Dwayne says, you think they may do another romance angle, possibly with Angel Garza and Nia? I mean, maybe. I've learned, especially this year, never underestimate WWE's ability to do anything to make us go, huh? So why not? Why not? Jake says, how do you think they will do the Rumble with no fans? It'll be so weird. Not any weirder than Mania or any of the other ones. The countdown not being there organically will be weird, but they'll have the 10 second. They'll have people counting down. It'll play off as best they can, and that's if we're still, locked down come into January. We may get a reprieve here, hopefully. I'm not saying we will. I'm not even thinking we will, right? But yeah, I'm telling you, more people. You're going to see a lot of changes after Tuesday, in my opinion, one way or the other. So, Elon says, "Do you watch Impact? If so, who are some of your favorites over there?" Haven't watched Impact since the show after Tessa became the world champion. Other than popping in here and there, I did watch the Anniversary. I did watch that show and the show after that, the Impact after that. But I have not watched consistently, so can't really comment on favorites or dislikes or whatever. But I will do. Tuesdays are busy because I've got Statboy Sports Bar. I've got the United Wrestling Network pay-per-view when I get to watch it, and Impact is on later, so I'll have to try to give it another chance because I know they got good stuff going on over there. Jay said, I switched it because the 22nd is the 10th anniversary. Oh, okay. Okay, well, that's also Aaron's birthday. So, and when Survivor Series is happening. So there you go. That's not a bad theory. Again, like you said, Jay. Nerdy Newfie says, hey, Jeff, do you collect anything wrestling-related, DVDs, figures, shirts, or anything like that? I got a ton of shirts right here. Besides my work shirts, I got a ton of shirts. I had an extensive figure collection many, many years ago. I sold it at a yard sale down at the Costume Studios because we needed rent money. But I do have some figures that are not here, that they're their house, that Dylan has obtained over the years that I kind of inherited when he stopped watching wrestling. But I do have some that I single out. I do have an RVD figure that I, when I'm not in the process of moving, I display. My Ric Flair, I got the Ric Flair Defining Moments figure of him wearing the robe he wore at WrestleMania 24. I was there, so I made sure I got that figure. Very important to me that I got that figure. I have a DDP figure that I have watching over me, keep me in check. Right? And my China figure, of course, that I brought to Joni's memorial and took a picture with her in the urn next to the figure. So those four are the near and dear ones to my heart. Elon says, what promotion do you think the Rose is going to end up with? I guess you missed Billy Corgan's message. She is under contract at NWA. She's still under contract, so there you go. Richard says, I love Tamina. She had a very solid match with Beth Phoenix at the Chamber 2012. That made me a fan. I just think she's gotten lazy. I've never liked her work. And again, she's had a couple of glimmers of hope here and there. Not a fan. Just not a fan, Richard. So I appreciate that, but I disagree. Shane says, how's it going? How much longer do you think we will have AJ Styles around? And do you think he will go to AEW when his contract is up in WWE? We're not really put much faith in WWE's chance to kind of hang on to AJ. I don't foresee him going to AEW. I think that when his contract is up, his career will be up. I mean, you guys remember, AJ's been wrestling for almost 25 years. I think he's either 22 or 23 this year, and he's been going full tilt the entire time. He's got to be beat up. He's got to be dragging his ass at this point. So I'm not saying he can't still go, because the guy can still go. He's one of the best. He may be still the best on the planet as we sit here. But honestly, there's only so much a guy can do, right? Psycho Jet Black says, I don't remember asking you this, but why does WWE not recognize or acknowledge Antonio Inoki's reign as world champion? There's a lot of that going on during Backlund's run as champion, Psycho Jet Black. Antonio beat him in Japan, and there was controversy on the rematch, and Antonio won the match by, I think, interference, and he refused the belt, so he tried to hand it back to Backlund, and Backlund wouldn't take it or something, so they had some sort of blow-off match with Backlund and somebody else here in the States, that Backlund regained the title, but never lost it in the record books. There's another time where, I'll never forget this. I saw it happen. I saw the video. Backlund was defending against Greg Valentine, and Greg lost the fall. But the referee had been bumped, so he was so disoriented that he awarded the championship to Greg Valentine. And the crowd was just like, what the hell? So they had a rematch later to blow that off and get the title back to Backlund. Then later, just before he lost the title to the Iron Sheik, actually, he had a match with Bobby Duncombe Sr., and there was some sort of shenanigans where Backlund was officially recorded as having lost, even though he didn't, or something. And he and Bobby had a rematch to, again, blow off the controversy. So a lot of shady shit going on in Backlund's reign as champion, but he was a great champion. Davi says, how would you book Daniel Bryan's last run? I would have Bryan go on a huge winning streak and then get into a program where an up-and-comer has designs on taking him out, and there's a career match at Mania, and Bryan loses. Cleaver says, who would you like to see as the next U.S. champion? Who's the U.S. champion now? That's on... Who's the U.S. champion now? That's so awful. I don't know who that is. I know Sammy's the guy. Oh, Lashley. That's right, Lashley. God, that's so bad, isn't it? Let me think about that one, Colin. Ram Jim says, do you think the Usos versus Street Profits would be a good matchup? Yep. I am looking forward to it when it happens, because now the Usos are falling in line with the family. They're going to turn them heel for sure. They already have, basically, if you watch Friday Night SmackDown. So I would love to see the Usos as heels become the SmackDown, or the, Street Profits are on, SmackDown, the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Excuse me. Elon says, so what's going to happen? First, a Ray and Angie divorce angle, or a Leah pregnant by Murphy angle, since the storyline is never going to... I think we'll see Ray and Angie divorce storyline. I think that's a little much. They're going to continue with Murphy and Aaliyah. I don't mind it so much. I actually was invested in the storyline on Fridays, so I look forward to it continuing. Stephen Bell, who do you think is going to win the election? I'm not going to talk about that, but I just saw your question. Everybody knows who I want, right? So, okay, everybody knows who I don't want. So we'll leave it at that. But I honestly don't know who's going to win tomorrow, and I hope my doubts are wrong. Put it that way. Jake's lucky for you guys. Then over here from Thursday, we are going to nationwide lockdown where everything but essential good shops. Oh, wow. That's crazy. God bless you guys over in the UK. You guys are doing your damnedest to keep things safe and secure and sanitary. So more power to you. Join will you be watching Full Gear on Saturday? It's only predictions. I will be watching Full Gear one way or the other. And I will probably have predictions on Thursday, either be it I forget when the No DQ team is doing the predictions, if we are at all. But my intention is to have predictions on this channel, on my own channel, the Jeff Meacham Network, on Thursday. Probably just me. So we'll see how to play that. Bader says, do you expect Randy to beat Drew? Honestly, thought they would go all the way with Drew. Again, I mentioned this earlier, Bader. I guess you missed that. I expect him to go all the way with Drew anyway, and they're probably going to get the belt back on him. I did expect Randy to win at some point, but after the first two losses, I had the odds after the first two losses. I was kind of like, okay, what are they doing? Where are they going with this? So Randy almost had to win at the cell, right? So, Orion, wow, I'm not even gonna try. Sorry, brother. Did you watch NXT UK last week? What'd you think of it? I've been a bad NXT UK fan. I haven't watched except the first episode since they came back. Very, very poor watch habits on my part. But I try to point this out to everybody. My attempts to build this network of mine, the Jeff Meacham Network, have been consuming me. And I had 3 different people last week telling me, dude, you're burning the candle at both ends. You need to relax. I literally fell asleep. Just kind of went conked out in the car on the way to take Dylan up to his mom's on Friday. And Saturday night after my Halloween thing, I slept for hours, just hours. And I'm trying to get my body back on a normal schedule. So, and my watch habits back to normal. I mean, I'm still way behind on my Conrad podcast. I'm behind on my weekly watchings. So I'm going to try to hit the reset button on TV stuff and get that under control this week. And hopefully I get to watch UK and catch up on that show this week. And he already said this will be his last deal. So he's done. So he'll retire with WWE. One would think. Stephen Bell says, "Do you think WWE is in need of a Velocity Heat style show to showcase more of the roster?" I mean, they have Main Event, which does that. So I don't think anything more necessary. If that makes, I mean, if they were to legitimately keep the brand separate like they claim they're doing, which they're not, then maybe a Velocity show for the other brand. Nerdy says, what do you honestly think of the Ray and Eddie storyline for the custody of Dominic? I loved it, but I see a lot of people lately that hated it. I was not a fan myself, and I know a very dear friend of mine who I've known for the better part of a decade who was a huge wrestling fan. And that storyline turned her away from the business forever. She has not watched since. So I get that. I get that hatred of the storyline. I wasn't a fan of it, but it didn't turn me away completely. I could have done without it, though. Let's see. Shane wants to know who is the greatest match wrestler of all time. Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio. So. Jake, the fantasy booking stuff, he asked me for a 5-on-5 AEW versus WWE Survivor Series match. I try to avoid the fantasy as much as possible on this show because I'm trying to get through so many questions. So I will definitely, if I have time at the end here today, or if I do another show this week that's just me, or for the Survivor Series prediction show, maybe I'll do that. We'll see. Richard says, do you think Undertaker would have had a solid world title run back in 91 if Hogan didn't use his power backstage to have Taker drop it days later? Or was it too early for Taker to be champion? Everybody assumes that Hogan did that. Everybody assumes that Hulk was the guy. That doesn't work for me, brother. They did that title switch to pop a discussion and to pop, quote unquote, pop the territory, even though it's a national company. They wanted people to be talking. They wanted people to be going, oh my God, they took the title away from Hogan. Oh my, and it's on the Undertaker. This guy's barely a year in. What the hell? It was too early for a good long singles run for Taker, in my opinion. He had a great run in '97. From WrestleMania to SummerSlam, he had he's been a great world champion over the years. I'm not saying it was too early, but it was definitely too early for a long-term run with the title. So, but I'm pretty sure that wasn't Hogan going, that doesn't work for me, brother. So, let's see. Cyberbuck says, when Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns feuded, should Roman bring up the 2015? Oh, when they feud, I should say. Should Reigns bring up the 2015 Royal Rumble and call out Bryan and fans for turning on him all because he won the match? I'm fine with that. I'm good with that. A little bit of, what do you call it? Storyline continuity. If they're doing predictions Thursday for Full Gear, then I will probably be there. If they've got a full team, I'll do my own. Whatever. I'm good either way. Steven says, what was your opinion on the Muhammad Hassan character? Again, not a fan. It did lead to a great Hogan moment. Not going to lie. Love that at WrestleMania. But overall, not a fan of the storyline. I honestly think the whole heel Middle Eastern thing is kind of played out. It was played out then too, 15 years ago. Not my cup of tea. Just there's so many more things we can do with talent these days than just assign a dumb stereotypical racist or prejudice or anything to it. It's stupid. Gary says, hey there, JM. Been wanting to ask you this. AEW is teased big time with their Full Gear trailer. Who do you think this hot free agent is going to debut next Saturday? I'm hoping a huge splash. Again, I will talk about Full Gear later this week on the Jeff Meacham Network with my predictions. So stay tuned there. Richie says, if you had the choice to turn one of these guys face, who would it be? Wardlow, Lance Archer, or Brian Cage? Right now, in this moment, Brian Cage. Wardlow works as a heel, very, very stoic character, very, very simple character. And Archer is just a certified freaking nut. So leave him a heel. But Brian's always worked good either way, I feel. So he'd be my choice there. Do you have any idea who Ghostface was that cost Damian Priest the championship? I'm thinking maybe Austin Theory. That is the working theory, is Austin Theory. So that's what I'm going with. Wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. Michael says, since Shawn Michaels is considered Mr. WrestleMania, who would you call Mr. Survivor Series? Randy Orton or Undertaker, maybe? I talked about this on Dads coming up this Friday on, again, Championship Network. Let's see what happens. Dads. Randy's a good choice. He's Ultimate Survivor. Taker's a good choice. That's his show. He debuted there 30 years ago, which is just bananas to me. Another one that I actually kind of lean toward in our discussion on Friday is Bret. Bret Hart has been very, very, maybe not successful at all the Survivor Series he was in, but he definitely his matches were definitely among the best at Survivor Series and the most impactful. So I would dare say Bret. Cody says, do I listen to Jim Cornette? Nope. No interest. What are my thoughts on him? I think Jim's out of his damn mind. I think that he's crazy even for wrestling, which is crazy. Elon says, how would you bring back Bo Dallas, and what brand do you have him on? I would put him in AEW and bring Joe Henning over there too. All those guys are so wasted with WWE and would be better off moving, in my opinion. Dwayne says, who is the first person to get an actual clean pin on Hogan WWE? Was it Warrior? Yes, it was. The Ultimate Warrior. As far as that big run Hogan had from 83 to 93, the first clean pinfall loss was the Warrior. Vader says, Ryan and Reigns should just be in this WrestleMania next year. Just take my money. Right. I'm okay with that, but I'd rather see Reigns and The Rock for my money. Big G says, with Survivor Series upon us, favorite moment and worst moment that comes to mind? Okay. My favorite Survivor Series moment is 2018 because I was there. It was good. It's a great experience. Finally got to see Survivor Series. Disappointed in my fellow Angelinos for turning on Ronda Rousey, but what are you going to do? Worst moment, the screw job. I mean, is there any worse moment in Survivor Series history than the Montreal screw job? I don't feel there is at all. Just a horrible, horrible thing that happened, and just terrible. Sticky says, what was my opinion on the Hulk Hogan controversy? I assume you mean when he had to bow out because of the racial comments and whatnot that came to light and the whole sex tape thing. I stayed quiet about that back then. I will say it briefly now. I was disappointed as a Hulk Hogan fan that had happened. I also was very angry at the county sheriff's office for releasing those tapes and at that stupid shithead Bubba the Love Sponge for exploiting Hulk as he did. And I am grateful that justice was served on all fronts there. Docker got shut down. Bubba got a lot of money taken away from him. And it was good all around that it worked out. And I'm glad that he's back in the good graces of the family of WWE, because I never lost faith in Hulk during that, but I did. There was definitely a black spot on the heart of the Hulkamaniac here. But never really lost faith because I knew that right would win out eventually. And yes, the things he said on that tape were not good, right? But people when they think they're in private conversations tend to have the true feelings come out. And whether we feel he is right or wrong in what he said or what he did, it's his opinion. And I've always said opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one, and they usually stink. So there you go. Steven says, what's your opinion on Total Divas? I'm not a fan of Total Divas as a rule. I did watch when I was living with my sister and occasionally here. I was actually on an episode of Total Divas, season 8, when they are at Ontario for SmackDown. The very first piece of dialogue you hear is my voice, and then thanking Paige for a selfie that we took outside of the arena. So don't mind being on the show. Got a little bit of a rub there, but not a fan of the show overall. Let's see here. Jake says, thoughts on Khali's first 2 years. I thought very underrated that he was a huge monster that was dominant and actually made me want to watch to see what he could do. Yeah, early Khali was not badly booked necessarily. I just, they tried to have him do too much. And they threw way too much comedy at him way too early on, and they ruined him. So, but early Khali, good stuff. Good stuff. Richard says, is it just me or has AEW lost a lot of steam? I remember being so excited to tune in every Wednesday, but now some weeks I find myself extremely bored. I'm the wrong person to ask because I watch both to this day. I've got AEW on the TV and NXT on my my other monitor here, so I watch them both religiously, and I enjoy both shows. So I don't know if they've lost steam. They've definitely had NXT catch up, so maybe. Colin says, besides Cesaro, Balor, or Sheamus, who would you like to see jump to NXT UK to help boost, quote unquote, the brand? Rhea Ripley going back would be nice. I know she's really popular here now, and she's doing great here now, but it's just I don't know. I mean, again, I feel so bad about saying this. I hate it when I take this stance. I haven't watched NXT UK in a minute, so I don't know where they're at, what they're doing. I don't know who could boost. There's a lot of guys in the WWE system that could do, great things if they're given the chance on any brand. So I have to watch the shows and really decide from there. Nerdy says, will Jericho be in the WWE Hall of Fame anytime soon, or will the whole AEW thing ruin our chance to see it? He is not going to be a WWE Hall of Fame inductee as long as he is the AEW's guy. Flair getting the induction in 2012 was an anomaly because Dixie was okay with it and ended up blowing up in everybody's face, and there was a lawsuit involved because of that. So I don't see that happening with AEW. AEW is very different than Impact was, TNA was then, so don't count on seeing Jericho as a Hall of Fame inductee until his AEW run ends. All right. I've answered your question about Retribution enough, so if you have a Retribution question, save it. I'm done talking about them. Elon says, how would you fix the WWE Tag Team division? Combine the titles. One championship across all brands, like the women do. A lot more interesting stuff can pop up with teams crossing over and defending on both shows, and you don't see the lack of depth that way. Ernest Cook says, do you think Mikey Whipwreck could have had a good run in WWE? I like Mikey. I always did. I never saw him as anything more than a ECW novelty act as far as the act itself. He is a tremendous trainer. Let me be clear on that. But the character of Mikey Whipwreck, the lovable loser who couldn't get an offensive move in, let alone, win a match, it's being done now. You've got Orange Cassidy who does no offense until he quote unquote hulks up and starts, kicking shit in. So I don't know if the way they booked Mikey in the mid 90s would work for a character, especially even Mikey. If Mikey was in his prime now, I don't think it would work, just from my perspective. Vader says it's 2:30 a.m. here in Saudi Arabia. Should I get some sleep or watch Raw? Get some sleep. DVR Raw or catch it on Hulu tomorrow. It's only an hour and a half on Hulu. That's what I do if I'm tired. Dwayne says, what are your thoughts on Paige's comments about WWE, and if not already asked, your opinion on WWE forcing them to shut down third-party channels? Paige's comments were heartbreaking, and I follow Paige on Soraya on Twitch, and it's terrible. The whole thing's terrible. I mean, I get WWE trying to rein in control on their intellectual properties, but at what point do you stop crossing that line of disabling your independent contractors, let's be honest, from making money outside of your control? So I am not a fan of the way they're doing it, but I understand why they're doing it. They're just not doing it right for me. Big G says, is it too much wrestling nowadays? I don't think so. I mean, as far as the stuff we're nationally or globally allowed to see, you got WWE, you got AEW, you've got Impact, you got the NWA, you've got the indies that are showcased on Fight TV. I'm okay with the wrestling that's out there right now. I have a choice, which is nice. Earlier, Suki says, you said something about wasted talent in WWE. Do you not believe there is talent being wasted? And do you not believe there is wasted potential in talent in WWE? Oh, of course there is. There's wasted talent potential across every brand of wrestling. And that is the central problem with wrestling, is that there are so many promotions, yet there's not, and there's so much talent trying to get that rub that you can only have so many people get that showcase spot, and a lot of guys are being wasted. If you go and look on the WWE talent roster right now on WWE.com or AEW's website for their talent roster, you're going to see a lot of people that have not seen a lot of TV lately. And I get it that a lot of AEW guys, a lot of them are on Dark. Like Dark, I love watching AEW Dark on Tuesdays because you get to see the guys you don't see on Wednesdays. So I don't mind that. But WWE has a lot of talent that's not getting the light of day. So and that's unfortunate. Dwayne asks, worst big guy wrestler, Khali, Gonzalez, or Viscera? Gonzalez, by far. Jorge was not even supposed to be a wrestler. He was drafted by the Atlanta Hawks. And when that didn't work, Turner went, make him a wrestler. Horrible idea. Horrible. He was the worst, by far. Cody says, early round predictions, please. Again, Rumble predictions are far off for me. And he says, shout out to Bailey and go Dodgers. Well, thank you. I appreciate that from New Orleans. Thank you, Cody. Yeah, I'll get in the Rumble in January. Let me get through Survivor Series. Brandon says, do you think WWE will make certain pay-per-views, TV 14 like Hell in a Cell, bring the blood and violence? We all know wrestling isn't work. Get gimmick chairs. We are all pushing for 14 to come back, right? I mean, we can all hope, right? But I don't foresee a need for the TV 14 thing to return. They're doing good. I feel SmackDown's doing very well right now. Their presentation's good. Tonight's show, Raw, not so much. There can be changes. There should be changes made to that brand, and I hope they do it soon because it's getting bad. Stephen Bell says, which gimmick change did you think had the most impact on a wrestler? First one comes to mind is JBL. I would have to agree. You'd have told me in January of 2004 that the big hulking partner of Farouk would be the WWE champion by the summer. I'd have laughed in your face, called you a liar. And there he was, JBL, the WWE champion. And again, I've said this a few times now as a theory on my shows, I should say, that I think the only reason people really got behind John Cena going into WrestleMania 21 is because they hated JBL so much and they wanted anybody to get the belt off him. John was the guy. Because you notice by SummerSlam, John was getting booed against Chris Jericho. So the shine had worn off of the WWE Championship reign of John Cena because it's like, oh, well, he beat Bradshaw. That's great, but I didn't really want him, right? I'm not knocking John. He was the face of the company for 10 years plus. He carried that company when nobody else really could. But initially, the thing was they hated JBL. And that was a result of the character, because Bradshaw became this corporate CEO guy who, he's a horrible person, right? But it worked for Bradshaw. It really did. Psycho J Buck says, what are your honest opinions on Montez Ford? Personally, I find the guy overrated. Get a lot of people think he will be a major star in 2020. I understand. I'm probably trying to say 2020 or 30. I don't know what you're asking me. Anyway, I like Montez. I like Angelo, but I don't see them as the breakout stars a lot of people see them to be. I don't see it, and I'm not a huge fan myself of the shtick of the Street Profits, but those guys can go in the ring, Montez especially. So I'm okay with that. Let's see. Nerdy says, what's your favorite Raw theme song over the years? Thorn in Your Eye. The Attitude Era, baby. It's what it was all about. Although Across the Nation was damn good. I love that era of Raw also. And I'll never forget the first time I heard it on April 1st, 2002, with the whole new intro. Just phenomenal stuff, man. So both those are my favorites, I think. Although I did like the one they just had before they changed Legendary. That I liked a lot. I didn't really watch. Siki says, what did you think of Lucha Underground during its run on TV? I didn't watch Lucha Underground. I tried once, I tried the first 3 episodes, and I just found it so soap operatic. Like, I enjoy my own soap opera, Young and the Restless, and I've not been quiet about that. So if you guys are just running that now, sorry. But I wasn't a fan of the presentation of Lucha Underground, so I didn't watch past like episode 3. Elon says, if Mustafa Ali never got hurt, do you think he would have went on WrestleMania 35 and beat Daniel Bryan for the title? No, I don't. I don't think that was the plan ever, for that spot to be champion. Kofi was an organic thing. Just as simple as that. Mike says, hey, Jeff, what's your favorite women's theme women's theme song ever? Odd question, I know, but I always thought AJ Lee and Sasha Banks' themes are pretty cool. I love Sasha's theme. I love the remix of Sasha's theme with Snoop Dogg in it officially. I love Charlotte's because of the Flair thing. I love Trish's theme, Time to Rock and Roll. I love that song, and because whenever I hear it, I think of Trish, and I love Trish so much. Lita's songs were always cool when she was an active wrestler. I do like AJ Lee's song back when she was wrestling. I enjoy Becky's. There's a lot of good ones. There's a lot of good ones out there. CJ says, what happened between Hogan and Sting and Halloween Havoc? Was it all storyline? Yes, it was. That was a way to get Hogan off TV. Russo's directive was to get Hogan off TV, and they did, and that's why he disappeared until early 2000. Dwayne says, what would it be a better match? FTR versus Rock and Roll Express or Young Bucks versus Rockers? Man. Question. I will say FTR versus Rock and Rolls. But it's close. It's very close. Cody says, what's one underrated WWE wrestler right now you'd love to see chip to AEW? Oh, God. He's not in WWE anymore. This contract lapsed, but Joe Henning. I'd love to see Joe Henning get back to work on a national level. For sure. Richard Morales says, where would you rank Percy Pringle / Paul Bearer as a manager? Top 5? Personally, I think he's number 1 because in late 2012, he did a lot for me. His passing came out of nowhere and was a shot in the gut for me. Yeah, Richard, I would agree. Percy was definitely top 5 and top 5 people ever that I've met. His passing definitely hurt me, and I did a show right after I heard that he had passed. We got to know Percy quite a bit in the last year or so before he passed away. We were doing our trips to Championship Wrestling Hollywood, and he was a good man. He's a good man, a good person, and one the last show we went to before he passed was right after the Kings won the Stanley Cup in June 2012, and I got there late. I was not able to get there right away because I had obligations, but Dylan and his mom and people were there, and when Percy walked out to the ring, I think with Sean Rick or Eli Drake, there's a picture of Percy handing the sacred urn to Dylan, and Dylan holding it with both his hands, and that was everything. I love that picture to this day. It's one of my favorite pictures of Dylan ever, and wrestling pictures ever, and it's very cool. It's very cool. Colin says, "Do you wish pay-per-view pre-shows would just be called Sunday Night Heat?" Why not? I'm all about that. I dig it. Let's see here. Steven says, "What are my thoughts on when Chavo became Curran White?" Stupid. So stupid. Terrible booking, terrible gimmick, just awful. So out of touch. Just bad. Very bad. Brandon says, "What JBL did to the meanie makes me angry at him. Is it true Styles beat him up?" I don't remember Styles beating him up. JBL was a bully when he was involved full time, from what we've been told. I wasn't there, couldn't tell you. Just go off first-hand accounts, second-hand accounts, whatever. But that's part of the thing. So. I do remember you. Hey, brother. WrestleMania 98, remember you? I do remember you. I'm glad you're back, sir. Good to see you. Rocker Radio says, "Meech, what's poppin', bro? Do you think The Rock could bring the XFL to the game for real, more like a pre-division for the NFL like NXT? I want the XFL." Okay, I said this when they went under again, and when Dwayne bought it. I want the XFL to succeed as a standalone brand, standalone league, because I want my football in February. I want to see past Super Bowl. I want football. I want football. And Dwayne's got to do it. I feel Dwayne will do it, no question. So I'm hoping. Sticky says, "I'm going to counter a previous question. What is one AEW star you'd like to see jump to WWE?" Right now, as I sit here, if I knew for a fact he wouldn't get wasted on WWE's roster, Ricky Starks. Ricky effing Starks. That guy is too good to not be a showcase talent. Shane says, "If Sting did show up in AEW, do you see him maybe taking Darby Allin under his wing as a mentor possibly, or see him with somebody else?" I'm not going to speculate on Sting. I mean, Sting being there, I feel, would be a desperation tactic for AEW, just from where I sit. I don't see a need to bring Sting in except for that. So, not knocking Sting, be clear, but I don't see a need to bring Sting in. Sting is retired. He can't get cleared. Chris says, "Do you think Big E is ready for a WWE title run?" No, I don't. I think he's ready for a main event storyline and a run with the champion on top. I don't think he's ready to be WWE champion. Steven says, "The Dudley Boys underrated or overrated?" Neither. I think they're acknowledged as how great they are. I love the Dudleys. I love them. And I think they've definitely got their just due in their place in history. James, I mentioned Paige and the whole Twitch cameo thing earlier, but not a fan of WWE's approach, but I understand why they think they need to rein in their control on third-party stuff and their intellectual properties. Paige's rant broke my goddamn heart. It was so sad to watch. I feel so bad for Saraya. I really do. It's terrible. All right. I am talked out. I've been talking for 50 minutes and my throat hurts. So let me do the plugs real quick here. I promise I will go through them quickly as possible. You can catch me at JeffMeachamNetwork.com. Very simple thing. When you go to JeffMeachamNetwork.com, you will find the links to everything me. Very simple. All right, Colin, you got me. If you can go back in time and manage one tag team, who would it be? Arn and Tully. Cody says, are the Young Bucks overrated, underrated? Neither. Got to be careful there. Those are pals. I think they are overrated by the hardcore, quote-unquote, smarks, but I don't think the wrestling world en masse has given them their due yet. CJ says, speaking of tag teams, where do you rank Harlem Heat? Top 10 tag teams all time. I love Harlem Heat. They're great. Do you agree, Sticky says, that the Young Bucks are bad at promos? No, I don't. You guys didn't see their stuff before AEW. They're great. They're great promos. All right, so when you go to JeffMeachamNetwork.com, you will find everything, including my YouTube page, my Anchor page, the Teespring store, links to my Facebook, my Twitter, and my Instagram. Find all that there at JeffMeachamNetwork.com. Don't forget, coming up this month is, of course, Survivor Series. So we will be doing a watch along. There you see it right there, 5:45 Eastern, 2:45 Pacific on November 22nd, which is Aaron's birthday. So keep that in mind as you guys go along in your viewing and whatnot. Because that'll be awesome. This week on Wrestling Rewind, Greg is celebrating a birthday on Thursday. So we will be checking out the match he wanted to watch, which is the Elimination Chamber match for the World Heavyweight Championship from Survivor Series 2002. Triple H defending against RVD, Chris Jericho, Booker T, Kane, and Shawn Michaels. That is coming up again at the end, Thursday on this first week in November. So tomorrow, of course, is Stat Boy Sports Bar. I know it doesn't cover the whole thing, so sorry, I'm working on that. But we'll be talking about the latest in the NFL and what's going on in the sports world outside of the National Football League. It's going to be a fun show for Mikey and I tomorrow. I look forward to it. Wednesday is the Greg Cherry Show. I don't have the graphic in front of me that I know of. I don't. That's okay. Thursday again is Rewind. Friday will be the Dads Not Always on Wrestling. Our top 10 Survivor Series matchups, and we'll break it down into the 10 elimination matches and the 10 traditional non-elimination matches. That's coming up this Friday on the Jeff Meacham Network side of things. Again, I appreciate everybody going out there and buying the shirts on Teespring. It is not overlooked that you guys are, doing the thing and helping us get brand awareness spread out to your communities and your friends lists and everything. It's much appreciated. Teespring.com/store/Jeff Meacham Network off of JeffMeachamNetwork.com. You can link off there or go directly to the sources I said. All right. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget, coming up tonight, immediately following Monday Night Raw on the USA Network, you can catch Aaron Riff's full recap of tonight's Raw, which will be at 11 Eastern, 8 Pacific, exclusively at youtube.com/NerdQ. If you're watching NerdQ, then you know where to go at 8 o'clock. That's the place to be, is NerdQ.com, where you can also find your latest news and features in wrestling. That's all at NerdQ.com, and the social media links are there as well. So thank you guys for watching. Love you guys. Hope you had a great Halloween and stayed safe and healthy and got that ridiculously overpriced candy. Or if you're going out there today to buy it, the extensively underpriced candy. God bless those sales. We'll see you tomorrow for Stat Boy Sports Bar. And next week, right here, Talk Wrestling.